Have you ever found yourself in a relationship kind of making yourself smaller, holding back on what you need because you're worried you're just asking for too much? Well, today we're going to dig into why that feeling might not be about you at all.
So let's just start with this idea, because it's a big one. If you keep feeling like you're asking for too much, it might be about who you're asking. I want you to just let that sink in for a second. What if the issue isn't what you're asking for, but the person you're asking?
Okay, so let's get into it. That feeling of being too much, it almost always starts as this battle inside your own head. It's a really tough internal conflict.
And what are we even talking about when we say needs? Look, we're not talking about anything crazy here. We are talking about the absolute foundations of a good relationship: consistency, someone just being present, basic emotional effort. That's it. These are the fundamentals. And yet, when you try to voice these totally reasonable needs, what do you get back? You're just too sensitive. You're so demanding. Or the classic, you're just too much. It's a phrase designed to shut you down and make you feel like the problem is you.
And when you hear that stuff over and over again, it starts this really damaging pattern. Let's call it the cycle of shrinking. It's how you slowly but surely learn to ask for less and less.
So how does this cycle actually work? It's pretty simple and pretty sneaky. Step 1, you express a need. Step 2, you get hit with that "you're too much" label. So what happens next? Step 3, you start asking for less. You add it yourself. Until finally, step 4, you just learn to swallow the discomfort. You silence yourself before you even begin.
And let's be super clear here. You stop asking, but it's not because that need magically went away. No, it's because on some level you learned that asking for it was dangerous. It's a way to protect yourself, right? To avoid getting hurt again.
So if your needs are totally normal, then what in the world is actually going on? This is where we need a major shift in perspective, a little psychological insight that can honestly make everything click into place.
And the key piece of the puzzle here is understanding what it means to deal with someone who is emotionally unavailable. For them, it's like their whole system is wired differently. Their nervous system doesn't hear a simple request for connection. It hears pressure. It feels like a threat.
And this is where all goes wrong. Your intention is so simple. You're just expressing a need for connection, but their interpretation is completely different. They feel this overwhelming, unacceptable pressure. You're literally speaking two different emotional languages.
And that difference leads to two totally different internal questions. You see, a healthy, available person will ask themselves, okay, can I show up for this? Can I meet this need? But an unavailable person, they turn it back on you. They ask, why do you need this so much?
And boom, there it is. That defensive flip is the exact moment your perfectly normal needs get relabeled as excessive. It was never about your requesting. It was about their inability to even hear it properly. So knowing that, let's take a beat, let's hit the reset button, and actually redefine and validate some of these so-called excessive needs.
Let's just reframe a couple of these, shall we? Okay, so wanting reassurance. That is not neediness. That is wanting the security that every single healthy relationship is built on, period.
Or how about this one? Wanting good, clear, consistent communication.
That is absolutely not asking for too much. You know what that is? It's the bare minimum required for any real connection to even exist.
The only reason these things feel huge and excessive is because of who you're asking. The problem isn't your request, it's that you're asking for something from someone who just doesn't have it to give.
Once you really get that, it opens up a whole new path forward. And it starts with asking yourself a much, much better question. You see, for so long, the question has probably been rooted in self-blame, right? Why am I like this? What's wrong with me?
But it's time to flip that script. The new question, the powerful question, is this: why am I trying so hard to be understood by someone who just isn't emotionally available? See that shift? It moves you from blaming yourself to just seeing the situation for what it is.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Full circle. You are not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person.
And when you let that realization really sink in, I mean truly let it land, that changes everything. It gives you permission to stop shrinking and start looking for people who can actually meet you where you are.